Hey, what's up YouTube? It's been a while since I last checked in. I guess this video is long overdue. The main reason I haven't really made any videos, it's a terrible excuse, but I did get injured. Wasn't really motivated to record much stuff during the rehab process. Basically, what happened, the video you saw, the clip that you saw right at the start of this video, that was, I was taken at Loughborough Gym, which I went to for a strength and conditioning seminar that I did with the UKSEA, which is the United Kingdom Strength and Conditioning Association. It was a really good course. The facilities were amazing. That gym was so impressive. But warming up to squat the first day, right in the morning, and something went. Literally with, I think, 60 kilos on my back. It might even only been 55. It might have been a women's bar. Maybe I didn't warm up properly. Maybe something was just waiting in the wings to come and bite me in the ass, quite literally anyway. But as soon as I went down for my second rep, something went horribly wrong. I felt this pain just explode around my glute, upper hamstring area, and I couldn't really walk for quite a few days afterwards. I had to dose myself up on painkillers and stuff. I'm still not even entirely sure what the injury was. I'm thinking it was some sort of nerve damage. But regardless, I'm not a real doctor, I'm not going to talk about that stuff. Basically, since then, this happened somewhat early July, I think it was the 11th. Since then, I've just been basically rehabbing. So on screen, you've already seen some of the first squats that I did since my injury, all the way in August. So it took me about a month before I could get back into training. I've probably lost about 2 months progress in total since the injury, because it's probably taken me about a month to get back to where I was before. As you can see, I'm doing some overhead shots here because power cleans were just not manageable for me for quite a while. I couldn't hip hinge at all, or very little, for quite a few weeks. But regardless, things are still going well. I got everything back on track. Just got back in the gym as soon as I could, basically, to even just do some pressing, and I even did some bench press for a little bit, which was out of character for me, but it made me feel better because I was doing something. Now that I am back in the gym, I'm almost back to where I was before when it comes to squats. Literally only just started power cleaning again this week, so I have no idea where I'm at really with those yet, but I'm not too fussed. Some lessons that this injury has taught me though, which I think is valuable for any lifter, but you have to really take the advice on board, because I know I sure as hell didn't. People are always talking about injuries and listening to your body and stuff like that, and it's very easy to ignore that stuff because, I don't know, maybe it's human nature. We feel like as individuals we're not going to make the same mistakes that other people have. But it's very easy to ignore your body when it's telling you that something is wrong. If you go back in my older training logs, I've been talking about this glute hamstring issue that I have that stopped me from doing certain things for a while, but I just kind of ignored it and just trained through it anyway, and didn't even step up my mobility work or my stretching or my foam rolling, nothing. I just kind of assumed it would go away after a while. That turned out to be one of the worst decisions I could make, because I ended up with an injury that really wasn't fun to deal with. Made getting around pretty difficult, getting in and out of cars, really stupid things like that just became such a task. So, yeah, the theme of this, I suppose, the advice that I'm going to try and give you is to just listen to yourself a little bit more. Remember that training is a long-term process. Sacrificing a day or even a week or whatever just to make sure that your body's in good shape, that you're flexible enough for what you're doing, that you're doing enough massage, that you're not getting overly packed up in certain areas. It's a good thing to keep on top of, whether it's the glamorous side of training or not, which it really isn't, but we have to do these things even behind the scenes. So I suppose that's the lesson that I've learned, and since then I've stepped my mobility and my stretching work back up again, and any issue that I have I now pay a bit more attention to, and I suppose not necessarily work around it, but make sure I'm doing the right things to facilitate. But anyway, when it comes to training, like I said, things are getting back on track now. As you can see here, September the 2nd, back up to 120 kilos on the squat. This was a 4-rep set. I didn't quite get the 5 that I wanted. So the next week I reattempted the same weight and I ended up getting 6. I didn't record that one, but from what it felt like anyway, I don't think I was significantly stronger to get 6 reps. Rather, it was through sheer force of will that I just didn't want to end up with the same result as the week before. Since the injury, one of the things that I am going to be, one of the most significant changes, I suppose, is programming. And when it comes to mesocycles and periodization and stuff like that, I will be taking a scheduled deload every 3 weeks now. Beforehand, I used to tell myself that I'd take a deload whenever I felt like I needed one, but that became never, because every time I'd be in the gym, I would just tell myself that I'm fine and to suck it up and go do what I have to do anyway. But I do think that having a scheduled deload is probably a really good idea. And sure, maybe every 4th week for me is not necessary because I'm not advanced enough yet to need that much time off. But I think it's a good habit to get into, and I make sure that the 3 weeks in between, my hard weeks, so to speak, are like really hard training. I usually do max out, well, a 5 rep max on squats every single week, and on box squats recently since the injury as well. I've been implementing way more box squats. I do have a couple of videos right at the end of this training log that you'll be able to see. And I think when you're regularly training to failure, you're regularly lifting heavy weights for max attempts and stuff like that, and also pushing yourself when it comes to athleticism. Sprints and the like do take more out of your central nervous system than you might realize. You don't always feel like you're run down or necessarily fatigued or anything like that, but sometimes it's important to force yourself to take that time off anyway, just to really make sure that your body's recovered, and also to give you that little bit more motivation when you do get back into it. I find that whenever I take some time off, you're always really motivated to come back and do some good things. So just to round this video off, I've talked for long enough, made things up on the spot. I don't know how this has gone, but hey, these are my high box squats that I've been doing recently. I actually find them to be a really good movement. They're definitely a weak point for me, so I'm going to be working on them quite consistently. This final clip here is 140 kilos for 4 reps. I was aiming for 5, but the 4th rep did slow down quite a lot. What I am happy about is the bar speed of the 1st rep though, as you'll hopefully be able to see, although someone does walk in the way. The 1st rep is actually pretty damn quick, quicker than I was expecting. So that shows good things for me in the future if I stay consistent with all these movements. And that's about it for the training log for the last couple of months. So I don't know whether to keep doing these monthly or fortnightly or something like that. I guess I'll just see where it takes me. I'm also debating whether or not to separate weight training and athletics training in future videos. If anyone feels like commenting and giving me their opinion on that, that'd be really helpful. But that's it for today, guys. Thanks for watching this video if you did actually make it all the way to the end. If you did, then please consider subscribing if you haven't already and liking the video. Leave me a comment so I know that I'm not talking to myself at the very least. But yeah, thanks guys. Catch you next time.